This is Kat with Beadaholique, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to make the Gilded New Year's Eve necklace. Now, this is going to be a really fun technique that you can use actually to make all kinds of holiday jewelry. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be using some artistic wire in the 22 gauge, and we're going to create a little focal here along my chain. Now, to do this, I've brought out a nice little graduated trio here of Preciosa pearls and crystals. And then you also just need a couple little jump rings here, but that's really for our clasp later that we're going to add. So I have a little lobster clasp over here. Now, very basic tools for this. We're just going to need a pair of round nose pliers, a pair of chain nose pliers, bent chain nose pliers, and a pair of flush cutters. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first things first is we're going to start working and we're going to create our focal. So again, I'm going to be using the 22 gauge wire. You can adjust this gauge if you so desire, if you are using larger beads or if you are using smaller beads. So please make sure that whatever gauge you're using fits with that smallest bead that you're going to be using. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of this off here. And we need about, I'd say, 6 to 8 inches or so. It's definitely going to be more than enough. Just go ahead and trim that off, and I'm just going to tuck that back in there so I don't lose my wire. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to come to one side, and I'd say about 1.5 inches or so down, we're going to come in with our round nose pliers and go ahead and bend that backwards so we get a nice 90-degree angle. And we're going to wrap that wire up and over the top, and we're going to create a wrapped wire loop. So go ahead and bring that all the way across. But before we finish that, what we want to do is we want to take one end of our chain here, and we're going to slip that on and make sure that it finds its way to the end of that little loop right there. And now we can come in, and I like to grip with my chain nose pliers, or you can do this with your bent nose pliers as well, and go ahead and wrap that wire around, and we're going to wrap it once. And this is going to be like our second little wrap. You can see that start to develop. And I'm going to wrap it 3 times here. So we get a nice look there on the front. And go ahead and wrap it all the way towards the back. So this is what you should have so far. So we have our nice chain attached and our wrapped wire loop. Now go ahead and flip that over. And we're going to come in with our flush cutters and just trim that off. Now, if you need to, you can come in with your chain nose pliers and just kind of bend that down in case it's sticking out ever so slightly. All right. Now come to the other side here, and I'm going to just trim off this side that's a little kinked. There we go. Set that aside. And let's go ahead and string on our beads. So we're going to string on our 4mm here and let that go all the way down. Our 6mm crystal, again, let it fall all the way down. 8mm. And now just reversing that little pattern there. And you can do a longer piece of this if you like. So 6 and 4. So nice little graduated piece there. All right. So before we create our wrapped wire loop on the other side, I want you to take a look at this. And I don't want to leave mine just as a bar. So what we're going to do is we're just going to press down on that center one to give it a nice little curve, a nice little even curve that's going to lay just like so. All right, so now we can come to this side, and you can see that I have all of my chains still in one piece. That's okay, that'll help us with our sizing later. All right, and come in with your round nose pliers. And again, now that we're looking at it side by side, we want to make sure that our loop is going to face the right way there. So we want to come in here and just above and just kind of eyeball, and you can get out your calipers if you'd like, how big that those 3 little loops are on the other side. So we want to make sure that we have enough space to create that same thing on this side. So now we're going to bend that backwards and wrap it up and over the top. And again, bringing it all the way across, coming in and just sliding on our little chain there. And now same thing that we did on the other side, come in and go ahead and grip right in the front there. And now we're just going to wrap once and twice and a third time there. and make sure that it wraps all the way to the back. So now we can flip that over. Come in with our flush cutters and trim that off. So now we have our piece all settled. I'm just going to tuck that wire. Perfect. So now, because this is 22 gauge wire, you could bend this if you wanted to. You could bend it even further is what I'm saying. So we can kind of adjust and kind of creep that up. So, but I like to keep it just nice and delicate. Now, to size this, what I like to do is just come to the other side here and just measure out the length that you want, and then you can cut. That way you still have one full piece of length, so you're not ending up with 2 extra pieces that are hard to use in another project. So you can just decide. So again, let me just bring out a ruler here. It's kind of a basic design here. So I'm just going to measure, and I'm going to find about 7.5 inches here, because we have about an inch and a half here of our focal. So I'm going to find about 7 inches there. Come to the top here. Again, just make sure everything is nice and even just by holding it up. And then we can just come in with our flush cutters and cut across that chain. So now we have at least nice, length of 9 inches we can use for a bracelet or something like that. So that's a good way to kind of keep your scraps at bay. All right, and then coming to the ends of this, all I need to do now is open up my little jump rings here to add my clasp. So in your bent and your chain nose pliers, just add your little jump ring there to one side and close that up. And we are then going to add our jump ring with our clasp on this side. Now you can use a magnetic clasp or any other clasp that you really prefer. I like this little lobster clasp. It keeps it nice and delicate in the back. All right, and now we have our necklace all finished. Oops, it looks like I have just a little piece of scrap there. I'll just get that out of the way. There we go. All right. So it's a nice little delicate way to do a wrapped wire focal there. And what I love about this is that actually you can do this, like I said, longer. You can do several kind of droopy pieces of it, however you like. And I love that you can just choose a nice little trio or even 5 different colors if you want. It's a great Mother's Day gift. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. You can get all of these supplies and see even more tutorial videos by heading over to Beadaholique.com. And if you're new to our YouTube channel here, be sure to hit that subscribe button below to get all the latest from Beadaholique.